What's going on, guys? Riley and Sean here.
What's going on, guys?
Today we are playing mechanic with the Hellcat. Today we are installing a LMI cold air intake on the Hellcat. Now this is a modification that I've gone back and forth on, deciding whether or not I really wanted to do this. It's about a $450 intake, which is quite a lot. However, trust me, towards the end of this video when we do the little driving portion, I think you guys will really enjoy the sounds. As far as horsepower, this thing probably is not going to add any horsepower. Even if it were to add horsepower, you're not going to feel the difference. Might help the throttle response a little bit, sounds a little bit better. So we're going to guinea pig it, try it out, and see what I think of it. So Sean and I are going to play mechanic today, and hopefully no disasters happen. But let's go ahead, we'll open up the intake, take a look at it, and then get to installing, and then later in the video we will do a driving portion to see just how big of the difference this intake provides. So now when it comes to Hellcat intakes, you have a lot of different choices, and the reason I chose LMI, otherwise known as Legmaker, is because, well, number one, this little cover keeps all the rain out from getting into your filter, and number two, the actual tube itself, which is right here, is carbon fiber. And the cool thing about, can't really see that. The cool thing about carbon fiber is that it doesn't really heat soak as bad as metal or plastic would. So I'm hoping that this will keep the temperatures down a little bit compared to other intakes. I already know that it's going to be worse than stock, so I'm just saying that now. Then we got the filter in here, and then a little bag with the couplers and just all the goodies that you would need right here. But that is all that's in this box, so we're going to get rid of that guy. Alright, and then we have the filter itself, which in my case it's red. I have seen some that were blue. This one's red, so that's cool. Alright, so now with everything laid out, you have the little cover, the filter, some little accessories, the actual intake, and then this thing is actually a pre-filter just to kind of keep dirt and water and stuff like that out. So this is actually going to go over that red filter to where you won't even see it, plus it'll be underneath this cover right here. But pretty simple, there's not really too many parts to this intake setup. So let's go ahead and move over to the Hellcat and take out the stock Airbox, which from what I've read isn't too difficult. Alright, so for the removal, you just basically take this little screw out here. It's an 8mm, and we're going to disassemble all of the cables, this one and this one, and then take out or loosen both of these, and then we're gonna go from there, and that should hopefully remove this entire assembly, but we'll see. All right, and here's my new child. His name's Billy. So while I was in the engine bay, I started thinking to myself, hey, I could take out this other little fake headlight bulb, because actually this is a little intake for air as well, and it's not like it really goes anywhere important. The intake's not on that side, but the more airflow going through your engine bay, the better, I would assume. So that little piece just has 3 tabs. You push them all together and it pops out from the outside. So pretty cool. Now I have 2 little inlets on my headlights. So now back over here at the factory intake, we went ahead and removed this little guy, which was in here like so. You pop it out. So put this piece aside, and then your mass airflow sensor, you basically just go ahead and take this out, and then we're going to transfer it over to the new intake. Ooh, fancy. All right, so remember the white part faces the front of the car. So if you're curious just how big this filter is, well, there's my head for reference. This thing is huge, so I definitely think we'll be feeding that supercharger with plenty of air. Now we just go ahead and assemble this. Oh my god.
Damn, that was cool. Whoa. Do that again, please.
Did you sell your Mustang for a Subaru?
Sometimes.
Alright, so now we have this whole entire assembly completed. And the little hose clamps are still loose, so we're going to fit it into place, and it should go, I'd say about like that. All right, so we basically got the entire intake assembly in here. there's several things that you need to be aware of. So number one, you need to make sure that you're not hitting these coolant lines right down there. Number two, you don't want to be hitting this. Three, you don't want to be hitting over there. And number four, you want to make sure that, you obviously can plug your mass airflow sensor in there. This thing, which we'll go over here in a minute, that'll fit just fine. And then of course, you want both of these nice and snug. This one's got a little bit of gap in it, so I'll probably tighten it just a little bit more here in a second. And the most important thing, however, with this intake is you want this little cover. It's going to fit like so. There's actually a little groove here in the little coolant tank that you kind of set it between. And it's gonna sit right there, and all it's held in is by one little bolt, that one right there. So you just need to make sure that all of these things are all lined up perfectly, and it's honestly kind of a pain. It's one of those things, like, it should be a little bit easier than it actually is, but it is what it is. But that is pretty much it for the actual install. If everything would have fit correctly, you could literally take out your stock airbox and put this one back in like a matter of like 30 minutes if everything were to go smoothly. But as with most car things do not go smoothly, so it ended up being more like an hour and a half, I think. All right, so as with any intake installation, we're gonna go ahead and start it up with the hood open, listen for any leaks, and try to feel around with your hands, see if you can feel any leaks. That would obviously be a problem. Make sure there's no check engine light. That would also be a problem. And then we're going to go out for a little test drive here at night, and then all the rest of the test footage will be during the daytime. Something cool about Hellcats is that I'm able to sit here and monitor my air-fuel ratio while we're doing this testing, so I can kind of see, if something goes where it's not supposed to, I can kind of monitor it here. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that as I kind of do just some light little accelerations, so we can get A, the sound, B, make sure everything works correctly, and C, make sure the air-fuel ratio doesn't go crazy. All right, so here we go. We'll get on just a little bit.
God. That's so loud.
That's like triple the loudness it was before.
Oh my God. You barely got on it too.
Stays in the 13 range, so that's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys, well, slight change of plans. Obviously it's getting dark because of Thanksgiving festivities occurring the past 2 days, so unfortunately I really wasn't able to get too many outside the car shots, And I think I have ultimately decided to take this intake off and put the stock one back on. Now you're probably asking yourself, why would you do that, Riley? It sounds great, which yes, I agree. This intake does sound fantastic. However, there are a few negatives to it. So the positive for the intake is, it sounds really great. You know, the whine, like, that sounds awesome. Now here we go for the negatives. So first off, the intake temperatures are a lot warmer with this since it doesn't have any type of heat shielding, so it's just pretty much sucking in hot air from the engine. Number two, my gas mileage has actually decreased pretty significantly since putting it on. Next, there's also the possibility and the worry of water getting on that filter, since there is just that, you know, thin little sheet of metal on top of your filter. I would just be kind of afraid since, you know, there's the hood vent right on top of where that intake is. So I'd be honest, I'm kind of nervous that water might get on it somehow if you're washing your car or heavy rainstorm, something like that. Once again, that wouldn't be good. And lastly, kind of the most important thing is, you know, this intake is a $450 intake. And to me, you know, it's not really worth $450 just to get a little bit of extra whine out of your supercharger, and nothing else is really positive about it. So the good that's coming out of this video is I got to experiment with it, see if I liked it or not. It's okay. I would recommend it for those of you who just, you know, want the supercharger whine and, you know, don't necessarily race it so much and don't really care about the negatives. But since I am really trying to get this car to run in the 10s at the drag strip, I just think that would be, you know, a negative going against the heat soak factor at the track. So overall, my final impression on the intake is I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. You know, it has its pros, it has its cons, but for me, I just think that I'd rather have the $450 and, you know, have a little bit less supercharger whine. But maybe we'll experiment with some different intakes in the future, but for now, that is my review on the LMI, I hate to call it a cold air intake, maybe short ram intake. But yeah, guys, there you have it. That pretty much sums everything up. So let me know down below in the comments, do you think this was a good idea of testing it out and then, you know, ultimately getting rid of it? Or do you think I should have kept it? Thank you guys for watching the video. I will see you on the next one. Take it easy.